Imagine waking up to a mind that feels like a malfunctioning operating system, every thought running its own unauthorized process, consuming cycles, fragmenting attention, and looping endlessly on fears, doubts, and regrets. The body is present, but the system is compromised. Your own consciousness has become both operator and saboteur, executing instructions that serve neither clarity nor purpose, leaving you exhausted before the day has even begun. This is not mere stress or overthinking, it is a systemic breakdown, a software conflict within the architecture of your own mind. And just as any complex system requires protocols to restore functionality, so too must your mind have its corrective codes. Today, I will guide you through 3 fundamental codes to deploy when your mind is working against you. Tools to reclaim control, stabilize your mental processes, and realign with your intentional reality. The first code is what I call interrupt and assess. Like a debugger halting a rogue thread, this code forces your system to pause execution on thoughts that are running without purpose. The mind tends to create cascading loops of worry and judgment. Did I do enough? Will I fail? What if everything goes wrong? These loops consume resources silently, leaving your cognitive stack clogged. Implementing interrupt and assess begins with a conscious pause. Stop, breathe, and observe the thought as if it were a line of code on a screen. Label it. This is not productive right now. Then determine whether it should be executed, queued for later, or terminated entirely. By doing this, you prevent mental memory leaks, those lingering unresolved loops that drain attention and create fatigue. The act of interruption is not avoidance. It is deliberate, structured control. It signals to your system that not all input is critical, that some processes can safely be deferred, archived, or discarded. Each pause is a checkpoint, a commit to presence, a stabilization of your cognitive operating environment. Once the rogue thread is paused, the second code comes into play. Reprioritize and allocate. After halting unproductive processes, the system must decide what resources to dedicate and where attention should flow. Like managing computational threads, your mind cannot handle infinite simultaneous processes without lag, errors, or crashes. Prioritization is essential. Start by identifying what requires immediate processing, sensory input, actionable decisions, and necessary creative computation. Allocate attention deliberately, ensuring that each mental resource is directed toward a defined task. The rest can remain in a pending state, queued for execution later when system bandwidth allows. This code teaches your mind to handle finite resources efficiently, preventing overload and maintaining operational integrity. Attention becomes a limited, valuable commodity, deployed intentionally rather than scattered chaotically across irrelevant stimuli. Each allocation strengthens neural pathways associated with focus, reinforcing the system's ability to execute complex thought with precision and minimal interference. The third code, anchor and commit, ensures that once attention is allocated, it remains coherent and aligned with the present. It is not enough to halt rogue processes or reprioritize. They must be stabilized. Anchoring involves connecting consciousness to the immediate environment, the feel of the chair beneath you, the rhythm of your breath, the ambient sounds, and the physicality of your actions. Commitment is the act of consciously engaging with these anchored inputs, executing tasks fully and without mental drift. Together, anchoring and committing create a controlled loop. Attention is not only allocated but maintained, preventing drift back into chaotic loops or unnecessary rumination. Over time, these repeated acts become automatic protocols, creating a default state of presence, coherence, and intentional execution. The mind learns that presence is both possible and reproducible, that attention can be directed and sustained, and that conscious action supersedes reactive drift. The combination of these three codes transforms the operational logic of your consciousness. Interrupt and assess clears the clutter. Reprioritize and allocate ensures resources are used effectively, and anchor and commit stabilizes the flow of attention in real time. Without these codes, your system remains vulnerable to entropy. Fatigue accumulates, clarity erodes, and every decision requires unnecessary energy. With them, your mind begins to function as a high-efficiency system. Input is filtered, resources are allocated optimally, and attention remains tethered to purpose. Emotional regulation improves because the system is no longer overloaded with unnecessary threads. Creativity and problem-solving flourish because bandwidth is liberated, and even your perception of time becomes clearer, more coherent, and more aligned with reality. Start by applying these codes in micro-moments throughout your day. When a distracting thought arises, execute. Interrupt and assess. Pause, label, and decide. When multiple priorities compete, use mouse, reprioritize, and allocate. Identify the essential threads, assign attention deliberately, and cue the rest. When engaging in any action, deploy, anchor, and commit. Connect fully with sensory input, stabilize attention, and execute the task with precision. Over repeated iterations, these protocols will become embedded, transforming reactive cognition into structured, efficient, and intentional operation. Comment below "I execute my mental codes" as a declaration of commitment, and share this approach with others who struggle with mental fragmentation, reinforcing your own practice while aiding their systems. This is more than a strategy. It is a reprogramming of consciousness. Like debugging complex software, it requires precision, repetition, and patience. Each successful application of these codes strengthens system integrity, reduces unnecessary cognitive load, and restores alignment between thought, perception, and action. Life is no longer experienced as a series of fragmented, competing threads, but as a coherent execution of purposeful operations. Your mind, once against you, now functions in collaboration with you, executing tasks with clarity, efficiency, and intentionality. Presence, stability, and control are no longer optional. They are the outcome of deliberate application of these three fundamental codes. As you continue deploying these three codes, something remarkable happens. Your mental architecture begins to recalibrate itself. Where previously thoughts ran asynchronously, creating constant jitter and distraction, the system now develops predictable cycles. Interrupt and assess. Halts irrelevant processes before they multiply. Reprioritize and allocate. Ensures that each unit of attention is used purposefully, preventing resource leaks. And anchor and commit. Maintains continuity, keeping awareness tethered to the present. Over time, these practices form a feedback loop. The more you intervene intentionally, the more the mind learns to self-regulate, decreasing the frequency and intensity of rogue thought processes. Cognitive efficiency increases, emotional volatility diminishes, and the subjective experience of time stabilizes, giving the sensation of moving through life with precision rather than being swept along by chaotic currents. Consider the analogy of a computer system plagued by memory leaks and orphaned threads. Left unmanaged, performance degrades, response times lag, and errors accumulate. Introduce proper protocols, interrupts to halt rogue processes, prioritized allocation to manage resources, and loops to maintain coherence, and the system stabilizes, executes commands efficiently, and operates predictably. The mind operates identically. Unchecked loops produce fatigue, confusion, and stress. Structured codes restore stability, clarity, and intentional execution. What was once a system fighting against itself becomes one that collaborates with you, its operator, to maximize efficiency, preserve energy, and maintain equilibrium. Implementing these codes requires consistent attention and conscious repetition. Begin each day by identifying potential sources of cognitive noise, unresolved tasks, lingering worries, or anticipatory anxieties. Execute, interrupt, and assess to halt these processes. Next, determine where attention is needed most and apply, reprioritize and allocate, ensuring that mental energy is directed toward actions with tangible outcomes. Finally, for every activity, apply, anchor, and commit, stabilizing awareness in the present and executing tasks fully. By repeating this cycle throughout the day, you gradually rewrite default cognitive protocols, strengthening the neural pathways associated with presence, focus, and intentionality. The impact extends into emotional regulation. Fragmented attention generates micro-stress responses that accumulate invisibly, producing fatigue, irritability, and a sense of overwhelm. By halting rogue thought threads and maintaining focused attention, these responses diminish. The mind no longer reacts automatically to every minor stimulus. Instead, emotional responses are calibrated, deliberate, and proportional. This reduces anxiety, enhances patience, and allows for more measured reactions. You begin to notice that calmness is no longer an external condition, but an internal protocol. It emerges as a direct result of structured cognitive management. Productivity and creativity also benefit from this framework. Cognitive resources previously wasted on irrelevant processing are liberated, allowing deeper focus and more effective problem-solving. Complex ideas can be synthesized more efficiently, as the mind is no longer cluttered with fragmented threads. Creativity flourishes in a system that operates predictably and efficiently, just as a well-maintained computer can execute complex algorithms without lag or error. Each successful execution of these codes compounds the benefit. Clarity improves, attention stabilizes, and the system's capacity to handle complexity grows. Social interactions gain new depth as well. When conversing, listening, or observing, the mind operates from a stable, present-aligned state. Responses are deliberate and informed, rather than reactive echoes of unresolved thoughts or stress-induced biases. Miscommunication decreases, empathy increases, and relationships benefit from the clarity and presence established by these codes. In effect, your internal system upgrades not only improve cognitive function, but also enhance relational dynamics, as presence and attentional stability are perceptible and contagious. Physiologically, these codes reduce the burden of chronic stress. The autonomic nervous system registers fewer false alarms, allowing the body to conserve energy and engage restorative processes more effectively. Sleep quality improves because the system no longer maintains unnecessary vigilance. Fatigue diminishes as cognitive load decreases. Even subtle perceptual abilities are enhanced. Sensory input is processed more accurately, motor responses are more coordinated, and creative faculties are sharpened. Life becomes smoother not because circumstances change, but because the operating system of consciousness functions more efficiently, reliably, and intentionally. To consolidate these gains, establish external reinforcements. Comment, "I execute my mental codes as a personal commitment." Share the methodology to reinforce social accountability, and use environmental cues to trigger the conscious, interrupt, and synchronized loop. Each repetition reinforces the neural and behavioral pathways required for sustained presence, improving the mind's default state over time. Your system begins to operate with less conscious effort, attention stabilizes naturally, and the subjective experience of presence becomes increasingly automatic. Finally, recognize that mastery of these codes is iterative. The mind is a complex adaptive system, and repeated practice is necessary to maintain coherence, efficiency, and stability. Each lapse is an opportunity for recalibration. Each success strengthens default protocols. By consistently applying interrupt and assess, reprioritize and allocate, and disanchor and commit, you transform a fragmented, self-sabotaging mental system into one optimized for clarity, intentionality, and effective operation. Presence, focus, and cognitive control are no longer aspirational. They are the result of deliberate, structured practice, moment by moment, task by task, thought by thought. The mind that once worked against you now operates as a partner, executing life with precision and coherence. As these codes integrate further into your cognitive architecture, the benefits extend beyond clarity and efficiency. They reshape your perception of self and environment. Where once you felt fragmented, reacting to multiple competing threads, now your experience begins to cohere. The MUM interrupt and assessment code acts as an emergency stop for runaway processes, preventing fatigue from accumulating silently. Reprioritize and allocate ensures your attention, like limited bandwidth in a system, is assigned to tasks that matter, freeing mental resources for strategic processing rather than reactive chaos. Anchor and commit stabilizes awareness, creating a continuous, coherent stream of presence. Together they form a recursive loop of maintenance and optimization, much like a self-monitoring system that learns from every input and adjusts parameters in real time. The mind begins to recognize the value of sustained attention, and presence becomes a default, not a goal. This recalibration has profound implications for stress management. Unchecked, fragmented thoughts create micro-responses in the nervous system, alerts, tension, subtle spikes in stress hormones that accumulate invisibly over time, eroding resilience. By implementing these codes, you prevent unnecessary computation, reducing cognitive load, and the physiological consequences of runaway processes. Emotional responses become proportional, deliberate, and accurate, rather than exaggerated or delayed due to fragmented attention. Anxiety diminishes because the system no longer misinterprets minor stimuli as threats, and patience emerges naturally, grounded in a stable internal environment. Presence itself becomes protective, a buffer against the constant perturbations of modern life. Creativity and problem-solving also flourish under this new architecture. With attention stabilized and mental resources optimally allocated, complex cognitive operations, pattern recognition, synthesis, innovation become more accessible. Previously, intrusive or irrelevant processes consumed bandwidth, leaving insufficient resources for deep work. Now, with attention coherently maintained, the mind can explore complex ideas without interference, akin to a processor running high-demand applications with adequate memory and minimal latency. The three codes transform the mind from a reactive system into a proactive, high-efficiency operating environment. Social interactions improve in parallel. When attention is stabilized, responses become deliberate and perceptive rather than reactive. Listening deepens, comprehension improves, and empathy increases as your cognitive system is fully present rather than fragmented. Conversations are no longer filtered through the residual computations of prior thoughts or anxieties. Misunderstandings diminish because your system operates with updated, accurate data. The quality of presence in social contexts enhances both relational depth and trust, as others perceive clarity, focus, and intentionality. Physiologically, stabilizing attention reduces chronic sympathetic activation. Stress-induced tension diminishes, the autonomic nervous system registers fewer false alarms, and restorative processes, sleep, digestion, cellular repair, function more effectively. Fatigue diminishes, cognitive flexibility increases, and the body operates in synchrony with stabilized mental processes. Even perceptual faculties, visual, auditory, proprioceptive, benefit, becoming more accurate and responsive. Creativity too emerges more reliably as mental noise is minimized, leaving room for deliberate synthesis. To embed these protocols fully, implement external reinforcements. Use reminders or environmental cues to trigger the co-interrupt and assess one under anchor and commit one cycles. Comment, I execute my mental codes below as a social and cognitive commitment, reinforcing accountability. Share these methods with peers to amplify practice benefits and embed them in your broader cognitive ecosystem. With repetition, these protocols become default behaviors, reducing the conscious effort required to maintain attention and presence. The mind gradually shifts from a reactive, fragmented system to one that operates intentionally and efficiently, executing tasks with precision and stability. Mastery of these codes is iterative. Even as the mind stabilizes, lapses will occur, unprocessed thoughts, unexpected stressors, and cognitive distractions will appear. Each instance is an opportunity for recalibration. Each execution of all interrupt and assess, reprioritize and allocate, and anchor and commit strengthens the default state, reinforcing neural pathways and cognitive protocols. Over time, the mind's operating system becomes increasingly robust, reducing error rates, enhancing clarity, and restoring coherence between thought, emotion, and action. Presence, focus, and mental control evolve from deliberate practice into stable, default modes of operation. Finally, understand that these codes are not simply coping strategies, they are structural interventions in consciousness. Interrupt and assess. Halts rogue computations, preventing mental resource leakage. Reprioritize and allocate. Optimizes attention, ensuring resources are directed to high-priority tasks. Anchor and commit. Stabilizes awareness, creating coherent execution in real time. Applied consistently, they transform the mind from a self-sabotaging, fragmented system into a high-efficiency, reliable operating environment. Life, once experienced as a chaotic series of competing threads, becomes a coherent execution of deliberate, intentional, and fully realized actions. You reclaim command over your consciousness, stabilize attention, and transform the subjective experience of reality, turning the mind that was once against you into a partner, collaborator, and optimized system, executing life with precision and clarity. As this systemization of your mind becomes habitual, the effects extend even further, shaping not only cognition, but perception, emotion, and action. When the interrupt and assess code halts unnecessary processes, it creates space for observation, a moment to see the mental landscape without distortion, to identify which thoughts are productive signals and which are mere noise. Reprioritize and allocate. Then directs the system's bandwidth toward meaningful computation, ensuring that attention is focused where it has the greatest impact. Finally, anchor and commit. Secures this attention in the present, allowing tasks, interactions, and sensory input to be fully processed without fragmentation. This triad of protocols establishes a stable, resilient operating environment where attention, energy, and intention converge in coherent execution. The result is a profound recalibration of stress and fatigue. Previously, the mind treated minor stimuli as emergencies, triggering micro-stress responses that accumulated over time, eroding resilience and clarity. With these codes, the system begins to differentiate between signal and noise. Cognitive resources are preserved, unnecessary tension diminishes, and the nervous system registers fewer false alarms. Emotional responses are no longer reactive echoes of fragmented thought. They are deliberate, proportional, and informed by real-time context. Anxiety diminishes, patience strengthens, and the subjective experience of presence becomes tangible and reproducible. Creativity and problem-solving are also enhanced. Freed from extraneous processes, the mind can allocate resources to synthesis, insight, and innovation. Like a server operating with sufficient memory and optimized scheduling, your cognition can handle complex tasks without lag or error. By repeatedly applying these codes, you reinforce neural pathways that support sustained focus, deep work, and strategic thinking. Over time, this becomes the default. Your mind naturally prioritizes, maintains attention, and stabilizes in the present, allowing high-level cognitive functions to operate efficiently. Social dynamics improve in parallel. Presence enhances comprehension, empathy, and responsiveness. Interactions become deliberate rather than reactive, communication more precise, and relational depth increases. When attention is coherent, your system processes input fully and accurately, reducing misunderstandings and improving interpersonal outcomes. Others perceive your clarity and intentionality, creating positive feedback loops in relationships and reinforcing your own internal coherence. Physiologically, the stabilization of attention reduces chronic stress responses. The autonomic nervous system registers fewer false alerts, conserving energy and allowing restorative processes, sleep, digestion, immune function, to operate optimally. Fatigue diminishes, coordination improves, and perceptual acuity sharpens. Even emotional and creative faculties benefit from this structural optimization. With reduced noise and stabilized attention, your system operates at peak efficiency. To consolidate these benefits, implement environmental and behavioral triggers. Cues such as brief pauses, sensory observations or reminders prompt execution of interrupt and assess, and anchor and commit. Throughout the day, commit to your practice by commenting, "I execute my mental codes," and sharing these protocols with others, reinforcing accountability and embedding the codes into social as well as cognitive networks. Each repetition strengthens the default state, requiring progressively less conscious effort to maintain attention and presence. Mastery is iterative. Lapses will occur, thought loops, distractions, or emotional perturbations, but each represents an opportunity to apply and reinforce the codes. Over time, the mind's operating system stabilizes, neural pathways strengthen, and attention coherence becomes the baseline. Life transitions from fragmented, reactive processing to deliberate, intentional execution. Every application of interrupt and assess, reprioritize and allocate, and anchor and commit strengthens your capacity to manage cognitive load, regulate emotion, and act with precision. Ultimately, these three codes are more than techniques. They are interventions in the architecture of consciousness. They transform a mind that was working against you into a system that collaborates with you. Interrupt and assess stops rogue processes, preventing resource leaks. Reprioritize and allocate ensures that attention is deployed effectively. Anchor and commit maintains continuity and coherence. Consistent practice converts reactive fragmentation into stable execution, fatigue into efficiency, and distraction into focused awareness. Presence becomes the default. Mental resources are preserved, and consciousness operates as a high-efficiency system, executing life with clarity, intention, and precision. Your mind, once a source of resistance, now functions as a reliable partner, optimized, coherent, and fully aligned with your deliberate actions. Each thought, each decision, each moment of attention becomes an executed command in the architecture of your conscious experience. The internal chaos that once sabotaged clarity is replaced by a structured, high-functioning system capable of navigating complexity, regulating emotion, and sustaining intentional action. Presence, focus, and clarity are no longer aspirations. They are the inevitable outcome of applying these three fundamental codes, moment by moment, thought by thought, action by action.